I was up north, far north, British Columbia, Canada, working in an oil rig camp out in the woods. I was working as a cook. I went out one afternoon for a smoke on the back deck. It was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It was a very quiet, still winter day. It was snowing, those kind of big snowflakes that make it look like the world is moving in slow motion. So, as I was standing there smoking, just staring off in the distance, not looking at anything particular, looking left, right, up, down at my feet, whatever, I felt something looking at me. Then I looked straight ahead. About 30 feet or less in front of me was the tree line of the forest, and directly in front of me, between two trees, I see the most gigantic wolf I have ever seen. This thing sitting looked like it was the size of a man standing. It was massive, sitting there and just staring right at me. We locked eyes. Then I looked away for a split second and then looked back and it was gone. I don't know. It just gave me the weirdest feeling. It was definitely like, hey, I see you, I could eat you, but won't. It was supposed to be a relaxing camping trip. Just me, my tent, and the peaceful sounds of nature. I had always loved being alone in the woods, away from the noise and stress of the city. But that night, everything changed. I was lying in my sleeping bag, listening to the crickets and the occasional owl, when I heard a loud snap. It sounded like a branch breaking, but much closer than I expected. I grabbed my flashlight and unzipped the tent flap, shining the beam into the darkness. I saw nothing but trees and shadows. Maybe it was just a deer, I thought, or a raccoon. I zipped the flap back up and tried to calm down. I told myself it was nothing to worry about, just a normal sound of the forest. I closed my eyes and tried to fall asleep. But then I heard it again. Another snap, followed by a rustle. This time, it was even closer, and it seemed to be moving around my tent. I felt a surge of fear and reached for my flashlight again. I unzipped the flap and pointed a light at the source of the noise. I wish I hadn't. There, standing on 2 legs, was a creature unlike anything I had ever seen. It had the body of a bear, but the face of a wolf. It had long, sharp claws and teeth, and glowing red eyes. It looked at me with a mix of curiosity and hunger, and let out a low growl. I screamed and dropped the flashlight, scrambling to get out of the tent. I ran as fast as I could, hoping to find a way out of the woods, but the creature was faster. It chased me, roaring and snarling, until it caught up with me. It pounced on me, knocking me to the ground. I felt its weight on my chest, its breath on my face, its teeth on my neck. I tried to fight back, but it was too strong. It tore into my flesh, ripping and shredding. I felt the pain, the blood, the life, leaving my body. I knew I was gonna die. And then I woke up. It was all a nightmare. A horrible, vivid nightmare. I was still in my tent, safe and sound. I breathed a sigh of relief and laughed at myself. How silly of me to be scared of a dream. I looked at my watch and saw that it was almost dawn. I decided to get up and start a fire. Maybe make some coffee. I unzipped the tent flap and stepped outside. And there, lying next to my tent, was the creature, dead, covered in blood, and missing its head. When I was young, like maybe 9 or 10, my cousin and I were walking down behind my grandparents' house, and at the edge of the woods was their pig pen. The back fence bordered the woods and was heavily overgrown with bushes. There was a small path we had worn out, and a very small clearing where we had put some chairs. It was kind of a natural clubhouse. Once you were in that tiny clearing, you couldn't see in or out of it. We were walking down the little path, and Just before we got to the clearing, I could see someone, an adult, sitting in one of the chairs, kind of leaned over with his hands on his head. I turned around and ran over my cousin getting out of there. She ran behind me asking what's wrong. I didn't stop running till I got back to my grandparents' house. I told my grandparents' house. I told my granddad and we all went back down there. But when we got back, he was gone. The thing is that even at the age I was, we had to duck down to get to the clearing. A full-grown adult would have had to crawl hands and knees to get in or out of the clearing. I have no idea how anyone even noticed the entrance to the path. It was so discreet. I also have no idea how he was able to get out of there before we got back. I'm 46, and I can still see the image of him sitting there, like it was yesterday. Hope you like the horror stories. Please subscribe to our channel to listen to more spine-chilling horror stories. Thanks for watching.